Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Chelsea and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you would please, while you're here, hit the subscribe button because I'd really appreciate it. In this video, we'll be talking about a paranormal story time that I have. I have not done one of these on my channel yet, but it's like literally one of the third or fourth things that I wrote down to do a video on, and I just haven't yet. I don't know why, but here we are. We're delving into it, and if this goes well and if you guys like this, I will be doing a few more because I've had a few different like paranormal things happen throughout my life and I want to share them. So I want to kind of give you a little bit of a background on me. So I come from a not very religious home. My parents do not believe in the supernatural or ghost or anything like that. So growing up, I never believed in this kind of stuff, and I would always just kind of write anything that happened to me off as just a mystery, just an unknown. I don't know what it was, but it couldn't have been a ghost because they're not real, which I completely get why my parents would tell me things aren't like real, because like I don't want my kids to think that ghosts are real, because that's just going to add a whole nother layer of like stress to my life as a mother. But even as an adult, like they still do not think that ghosts are real in any kind of aspect. And you know what, I get it, I completely understand. Lots of people have that belief, but there is just too much like paranormal phenomenons out there to not think that something more is out there. I mean, I don't know. I am a skeptic, so I definitely believe there's something out there, and I think I'm more of a rational person, so there's definitely a science to that. I mean, we are beings, and the brain is like I don't know how to say it, but we just don't know a lot about like the brain and how certain things work, and even like how people are born and have certain interests and the way they think and stuff. I mean, obviously we've done, more and more research every year. We're getting closer and closer to answers for different questions, but overall, like the spirituality of life is a mystery, and I think a lot of it can be explained with science. Like even, I don't know, like ghost, aliens, like anything supernatural, magic. I honestly think a lot of it is connected to science that we just haven't discovered or don't understand yet. And I think a lot of that, like science and supernatural, really do kind of go like hand in hand. They really mesh. It's just a lot of it is just theories that have not been proven or disproven at this point in time. And I don't know, that to me is just like the most interesting thing. So I don't know, you let me know down in the comments like what you think about all that I just said. So going on from that, I want to kind of tell you my story. Like I said, as a kid, my whole life I've been very skeptical. Like I believe in the paranormal, supernatural, ghosties, whatever you want to call them, but I will think about and look at every other reason something would happen before that. Like that's like my last go-to. That's like, this is so unexplainable that might be like the reason. So okay, let's jump into the story time. So I was about 9 years old, and we have a pretty big family. So like my parents are divorced, but on my mom's side she remarried, and together, including me, they have 6 kids. And we lived in a very normal like household, so there weren't like a ton of bedrooms. There was 3 bedrooms upstairs. I'm lying to you, there are 4 bedrooms upstairs. No one lives in the house at this point in time. There are 4 bedrooms, and we had 2 of the older boys in one room, 2 of the younger boys in one room, and then 2 girls in another room. So me and my sister. And my sister and I are about 6 years apart, so of course when I'm 9 turning 10, whatever, I'm too cool. So I'm too cool for my sister. She's a little tiny kid. I'm over it. And my mom was like, hey, there's a room in the basement, and if you want to, we can like clean it out and paint it and add some carpet and stuff and make it like a room for you, so like you can have your own room. And no one else would want to sleep in this basement. Like, my mom wouldn't care, but it's like a small room. Like, it's not like a 2-adult size room. You see what I'm saying? And my stepbrothers at the time, like, they lived in this house. This was like my stepdad's house. So this was like a house that we all moved into, which was like fine. It was a nice house. And the stepbrothers, they were like, there is a ghost downstairs. Like, there's something down there. And I swear to, I was 9, so I'm trying to like remember, but I just always remember the story. Like, it's just so crazy. So they literally, I know the youngest one, the one that was closest to like my age, he would always say that there was like a shadow person or like a shadow man that would like live downstairs. And me growing up with my parents, that doesn't exist. So my stepdad and like my stepbrothers, they believe in ghosts, like 100%. Like, their dad believes in ghosts. Like, he has like some crazy stories that I might share in here sometime if he's okay with that. And like, his family has some crazy stories. But we grew up with my parents. My mom does not believe in ghosts, not a thing. Paranormal doesn't exist. So I'm like, I'll go down there and sleep because these boys, they're just being dumb, you know, like, whatever. So they clean up this room, they make it mine. I'm very happy. I sleep downstairs, completely content. I sleep, I mean, even when I was like a little kid, like, I sleep in pitch black, no noise. Like, I like to sleep in just like a void of nothing. That's where I sleep best, void of nothingness. And so it's so dark down there, makes me so happy, love it. Well, there was one day, it was nighttime. It was a weekend, and I believe it was a Saturday. So I was off school. I always have had like a TV in my room, and I had a TV in my room downstairs as well. I actually had the same TV for like a long ass time. And I was watching TV. All the lights were shut off. All that was on was the TV, which isn't really good for your eyes, but I was a kid, I don't care. And there was so the way the room was set up, I had a bed here behind me. So this was just like a small little like square room. So there's this bed behind, and I'm lying in it, and I'm watching TV, which is straight ahead of me. Behind me is like a little window, and then in front, but it has like a curtain on it, obviously, so people like can't, you know, get in there and look. So I had the curtain closed because I was watching TV, and where my TV sat, it sat like in the middle of like one of those big dresser wraparound type things. So it had like a dresser in the bottom, but then it like kind of wrapped around and had the top, and you put the TV inside and you can stick stuff at the top, like toys, trinkets, whatever. And then right here, closer to the TV, further from me in the bed, there is a door, just like a regular size door. Well, actually it's just an entry, it doesn't even have a door on it, but that's okay because it's not that big of a deal. My door is basically like the basement door, which is fine. And so I am laying there watching TV, minding my own business. It was kind of late. I've always been kind of like a night owl type person. Everyone else is sleeping upstairs. Mind you, I have the curtain shut. All I have was the light from the TV on. And out of like the corner of my eye, I see a black figure. And for me, I'm just like, okay, even at night, I mean, I've always been a very logical person. I'm a Capricorn, by the way. And so I'm like looking from the TV, I see out the corner of my eye, so I look over because I think someone's there, like maybe it's my sister, my brother, whatever. So I look over, and the shadow like raises up, and at first I'm thinking maybe it's just because it's dark and I'm looking at a TV, so like, you know, when you look away and you see like kind of spots. Well, I'm just looking at it. I'm not like moving my eyes, looking at other things. I look at it, it raises up, and then it goes, and so then I start following it because like it's moving, and then I'm watching it. It's not like I'm moving and I'm just like seeing something with my eyes, because it was only in one spot. Like I could look down, nothing, but I look up and it's right there. And so it moves across the room, and I should have said this before I talked about the figure, but on top of this, you know, stand, have my TV, goes up, there's like a shelving type thing. I have a doll. So again, I'm 9 years old. I have a doll. I would try to find this doll on Google, like editing Chelsea, find that for me. But I've tried to find it before and I can't. Like I cannot find this. There's just some random toy that my mom got me, whatever. And this doll, it had a button. So it wasn't even you had to push a physical button on its big purple shoes. So it had big purple shoes because it was like kind of tall, and it would like stand still, or yeah, stand in one spot. And it was like kind of a tall like Barbie type thing, but I don't think it was actually Barbie, you know, the brand. and it had like pigtails, I think it had blonde hair or something, and it would like dance around, and its arms would move, but its like feet would stay still, so like it didn't fall over, and you'd have to physically push this button on the shoe. And it was sitting up there, and again, I don't know, I'm a very, like, I was always a very clean kid, like, my room's always organized, so it was, like, sitting here, and then I know I had two other objects, because I had, like, two objects, one in the middle, so it just looked nice on my shelf, you know, I have to have my room together for my 9-year-old friends, and so this figure that I'm, like, seeing come across, it raises from the doorway. It was standing like literally like a man, like it was tall, but I feel like it was almost as tall as the doorway. Like it was really weird. And it raises up and it becomes like the shadowy bubble, I don't know, and like I guess like a shadowy orb type thing, and it slowly just moves across above my TV, like it's like basically like running into, you know, my stuff but not knocking anything over. It's going across, and I'm just watching it, and, like, I'm terrified. I'm just sitting in bed, like, covered up, like, what in the fuck? What the hell's going on? Like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, it just stops and hovers over my doll. Now, mind you, so I try to think of, like, this could have been, you know, a car driving by. This could have been someone walking by, like a shadow. Okay, but it turns the doll on, and the doll is not motion censored. So even if it was some kind of like thick shadow that would have somehow motion censored it on, you had to physically push a button. So this shadow or orb, shadow man, I don't know, this thing that was flying across my room, yeah. This thing that was basically like slowly flying across my room, it just hovers over this doll and turns it on, and she starts dancing and singing, and I'm like, girl, please stop. Like, this is not what I want right now. And of course, it's not like, I mean, she has to go through a whole thing, so I'm just sitting there in absolute, like, shock and fear. And I'm just like, what in the heck? And I would say I never felt, like, scared, per se. Like, I never felt like, oh my god, it's gonna, like, hurt me or something. I was just more, like, shocked and scared by, like, how it just turned that, like, doll on. And if it would have never turned the doll on, I would have never thought anything of it. I would have thought it was just a shadow from something behind me from like the window, even though the curtains were closed, whatever. But the fact that it literally turned on a doll, that you had to push a button, and it was like across the room from me, no one else was downstairs, I will never forget that. Like I said, I was like 9 years old. I will never forget that. It was so crazy. Anytime I talk about like ghost stories, paranormal stories, whatever, I always bring this up because it was just the most crazy thing to me. And it might not seem like you're like, okay, whatever, but I don't know how else to describe this. And it's not like something was wrong with the doll. I mean, I guess something could have been at one time, but it never did it again. It never happened before this point. It never happened after this point. The doll was new. Like, it was pretty new. And it was probably only used a few times because, again, I was just kind of like I don't know, I just like to organize my room, and I use stuff every now and then, but I wasn't, like, aggressive or rough with anything I used. Like, how there's probably a toy box at my mom's still full of the toys that I had when I was a kid, and they probably look like they just came out of the box, because I don't know, I was a very neat, clean kid. But, I don't know, you guys tell me down in the comments what you think it was, or do you think it was a ghost? I definitely think, and it's so ironic to me too that like my stepbrothers always say there's like a shadow man downstairs, and I'm just thinking, whatever, you know, it's just from the windows and the shadows, like, you're in a basement, like, things happen, you know, you see stuff. But I always came from a rational family, so I always tried to think very rationally about things. And I just sat there and was trying to rationalize it and had no way of rationalizing this. And I honestly can't remember. I don't think I went upstairs because I probably didn't tell anyone, because I probably just was like, well, it doesn't matter because they're not going to believe me, or they're just going to, like, you know, I have a bunch of older brothers, so they'll probably just make fun of me, like, you know, whatever, you sleep down there. So I was just like, I think I literally just went back to watching TV. I was just like, I was phased, but it, like, I mean, it was basically one of those things like, well, it didn't hurt me, you know? So I don't know, you guys let me know down in the comments what you think. I have a few other stories that I would like to tell, and some of them are a little bit more in-depth. I might even pull a person or two from my family to come and tell you guys a couple of their like ghost stories, paranormal stories. That is like one of my favorite things to ask people when I first meet them is, do you have a ghost story? and it's about 50-50 yes or no, and I have heard a lot of crazy things. So I don't know, I might write some of these down and then just like not, you know, just change the name, whatever, if they're okay with it, and tell you guys some of those stories too. Let me know in the comments what you think about this video, what you think about me doing some more paranormal type stuff along with the stuff I've previously done. And yeah, if you like this, give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe please, I'd really appreciate it. Hit the notification bell because I post every weekend, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter, especially Twitter. That's where it's at. I tweet all the time about horror movies, paranormal stuff, documentaries, and just different things that I've seen or am interested in. And I'm always asking questions for you guys too, because I love interacting with people online. So come hang out with me there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will see you next weekend. Peace out.